you're the founder of 3 projects. So Fae Folk, which we briefly talked in the beginning, Cig DAO, and now the Registry. I think it's the small things that makes your life easier, that maybe go unnoticed, that do the big change.
This was my efforts to help support the ecosystem. We shouldn't be a tribalistic community where like it has to be ICP or nothing. It's like, well, they shouldn't even know about ICP.
Today, we talk to Jonathan from the Registry. Jonathan is the founder of 3 projects, Fae Folk, Cig DAO, and the Registry. Today, we'll talk to him about them to learn all about them. Jonathan, welcome to the podcast. It's really nice to have you here, man. How's it going?
Going good, man. Glad to be here.
You've been around the Internet Computer Protocol for a while now. The first time I heard about you, it was in the Supernova Hackathon 2022 when you joined with the game Fae Folk. So mind giving me an update on that?
Yeah, I can. So Fae Folk actually started off as a different game called IC Cards, and Supernova was actually our second hackathon. We initially joined up with the Enco Hackathon people, did that. We actually won. We came to a conclusion that that card game we were building wasn't really what people wanted. A bunch of VCs came to us and said, hey, I like what you guys are doing IC cards, but a real RPG would be killer. If you guys did that, we would invest. So that's what we did for the Supernova Hackathon, but the VCs never came back. Partly, I think because of the market, right? That's not really on them, but that's how it goes sometimes. And now we're here with Fae Folk, a very fun RPG game. There's a playable version right now. You guys want to try it out. But yeah, I love playing it, and this is kind of a rare situation where you're building a game, you also love playing at the same exact time, right? But yeah.
The last information that I have about Fae Folk was it was like a closed beta. Is it in open, like for everybody to play it right now?
It's not an open beta. You can reach out to me, or you can reach out to me, or you can reach out to Steven, and we can give you guys a link to it. You guys can play it.
So let's go a little bit on your journey on the Internet Computer. So how did it start?
Initially, I wasn't even aware of the Internet Computer. I was in EOS, and prior to that, I was in XRP. But I was looking for a way to build a DeFi or like SocialFi project, right? And I was looking for a good way of doing a database that could be decentralized and not too slow that would be inconvenient for anybody to tweet or post. And I originally got started with Fleek. Fleek has some good tooling around that. And I was in the Slack channel, and Harrison actually gave me a link to that computer website. Went to that website, dug into the documentation, and the rest is really history. It was the best blockchain, the most enjoyable developer experience I had for the most part when it came to the code and to the tools that they had. And that's why I'm here now, mostly because of Harrison, but also because of my curiosity building SocialFi.
So for people who don't know who Harrison is, he is the founder of Cig DAO and Fleek, and he's no longer on the Internet Computer right now. He left us for another blockchain, unfortunately. A lot of developers especially are really happy after they joined the Internet Computer Protocol. What do you think are some of the benefits of building on the Internet Computer as opposed to any other blockchain?
Once you get past the language, right, Motoko or Rust in the CDK, it's really the most similar to building on a regular stack than any other blockchain, right? There's no special thing you have to do. There's no like gotchas. It's pretty much no like memory management, right? Normal like REST API calls with the new HTTP out calls and in calls, right? Everything is pretty straightforward. But that language is a big ask, I would say, honestly, right? Especially Rust. But once you get past the Rust and Motoko hurdle, it's probably the most similar to any other stack you want to build for.
Mm-hmm. So usually developers don't like Rust, is what I'm hearing.
I would say developers pretend that they like Rust because it's cool to like Rust, but Rust is one of those languages that it's rough, man. It's tough to get going with it.
Did you have any difficulties finding answers to your questions about Motoko, or where did you go? So if a new developer comes to the Internet Computer and they have questions, like who answered your questions?
Discord and the forums are the best place to go. And I got started way back, like a little bit before Genesis. So Discord was really all they had back then, and the forums came, and that was pretty good. But Discord is probably where we get the most immediate response. And a lot of times, because it's been around for so long, if you search the Discord channel before you ask a question, you see an answer for that question already there, or multiple solutions to that question. So that's what I would do if I were starting new right now.
Right. And nobody likes to search. Everybody likes to ask it. I have this question. I'm not going to bother looking. Yeah. So you're the founder of 3 projects. So Fae Folk, which we briefly talked in the beginning, Cig DAO, and now the Registry. Let's talk a little bit about each one of them. So Fae Folk, it started as a card game, and now it turned into this RPG game. What are the plans for it?
So right now with Fae Folk is to get more funding. We kind of came to a place where funding kind of dried up between the grants that we got and the Supernova Hackathon winnings. The market doing what it did. Funding for Fae Folk kind of dried up, and games are one of the hardest things to build, even in Web 2, right? Because so much time and developer resources go into the actual game, and that's not even talking about the blockchain side of it, right? So right now with Fae Folk, we have the current version I told you where you can play, and until we get more funding, that's kind of where it's going to be at right now. Hopefully, as the market sentiment changes towards ICP and maybe a bull market comes back, we can see more funding, and then we can go back at it 100%, but this is where we are right now.
You guys never launched an NFT collection for the game, did you?
Correct.
I think
we were. Go ahead.
I think that's one of the options available to launch an NFT, because I think people love Fae Folk and they have a really good thoughts about it. When I think of Fae Folk, it's super professionally made. It's exciting, so I would definitely buy a Fae Folk NFT if I had the possibility to do so.
That's definitely something that we talk about, and we have plans for that. We want to do it right, though, right? We want to just throw an NFT out there and with promises. We want to have an NFT that has actual utility that makes sense for the game, because I was talking to my team about this some time ago too. When you make a game on the blockchain, the game should be should be treated as a first-class citizen, not a second-class citizen, which you see in a lot of situations with blockchain, because people are there for the fun. If you play Valorant or Fortnite or League of Legends, the skins are there as a support mechanism for the enjoyment you're already having for the game, not to be the main focus.
Of course. Yes, but Valorant and Fortnite and those AAA games have had building budgets of like millions or tens of millions. So
this is true.
It is different, but yeah, it's true, because when I look at many Web3 games, it's like we're in the 2000s or 1990s. It's the beginnings of gaming as we know it. So yeah, that should definitely change, and somebody will create a game that is gonna be, first of all, fun to play, and then it will have the utility of having an NFT attached to it. Awesome. Cig DAO, what about it?
Yes.
What does it do?
So Cig DAO, I love Cig DAO, man. This was my efforts to help support the ecosystem, right? And you probably heard a lot of noise around the grant and the paths to funding that exists on the IC right now, and the SNS and all that stuff. And in the past, people getting upset for getting rejected from the grant process. Cig DAO was and not just me, but Daniel, Crypto is Good, and a few other people, our attempt to provide another path of funding for people. Because there's a lot of in-between gray areas, right? There are projects where they aren't yet grant ready, but they have just enough funds that could get grant ready. Or maybe if you're not SNS ready and you got a grant, but you can't get that second grant, we could be there to help be that in-between period between your next grant or the SNS. And that's what Cig DAO was supposed to be. Again, with the market and the sentiment towards ICP, it's been tough to get the allocation towards the treasury that we wanted. But we've done some funding already, most notably towards Fae Folk. People give us slack for that, but that was towards our developer. We gave him all those funds to build our game dev. Jesse, also ICP Jesse, we actually did some sponsorship stuff for him, paid him to talk about Cig DAO.
So Cig DAO would give grants to people, would analyze projects. Okay, cool. Okay, and would it assist people with obtaining Definity grants or getting ready for SNS launches?
Well, we don't assist you in getting ready for the SNS or the grant. We're there to help inject you with funds in between those periods, right? So be it a 5K grant or another 10K grant, depending on the size of the treasury, and also the DAO votes on, give you the funds you need to keep that extra month or two going, or they'll give you an extra month or two in your runway to keep going.
Okay, and where would the funds in Cig DAO come from?
The Cig DAO treasury. We have a distribution that's happening right now. This is kind of a little bit outdated too, because we're actually in the process of SNSing Cig DAO, so a lot of things will change. But right now we have a year-long distribution where people come and buy YC tokens, which is a data token for Cig DAO, and that ICP used to buy goes to the treasury, and that treasury is used to fund projects.
Okay, cool. Okay, and are you guys planning to launch Cig DAO in the SNS?
Yes. We're actually in the process of doing that now. The first proposal passed, which was getting the sentiment from the DAO community, our DAO community. Hey guys, this is the reason why, this is the how, and this is the when of the SNS, the SNSing of Cig DAO. That passed, and now we're doing some more proposals where we have to, like, for example, there was a 10% cap on the treasury where no proposal could ask more than 10% of the DAO treasury. This SNS process is going to cost a lot because of all the people that have to be involved with this development that's going to be needed. So we have to remove that cap. That current proposal is up right now, and then the third one will be the actual funding for some of the development work, like turning the DIP20 token we have into ICRC token, spinning down Smoke Swap, spinning down, or removing the allocation from Solid Swap. We get ready for the transition to the SNS, all that stuff. So it's really cool. If you want to see a DAO process take place on the IC that's not an SNS or NNS proposal, Cig DAO is the place. We've been doing it for a while now.
And where is the voting taking place?
On Cig DAO itself, on the website.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Right. In as little words as you can, what is the process of launching an application through the SNS for people that are watching and may think about launching an SNS? What's the process?
Well, the first thing you want to do is go into GitHub and spin up those the Docker file that allows you to test it locally to make sure everything's in line. Because there's some setup you have to do, right? If you're going to be doing functions that can be called from the SNS, right? You have to make sure that you set up those methods properly, right? If you're going to be doing like neuron airdrops, it gets more complicated with that. I know Catalyze is having issues with that right now. So they're trying to figure that one out. But yeah, just go to that GitHub, spit up the Docker file, run it locally, make sure your canisters work properly, make sure that it just runs locally. I mean, they did a great job getting the prep work done for developers or a team. And once you've done that, it's just you just contact the Affinity, and then they hold your hand for the most part.
For example, me as a non-developer person, I would not be able to launch an SNS even if I wanted.
Probably by yourself, I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, the Affinity might help you with that process, but if you are trying to go SNS and you don't have a developer, then I would not invest in your SNS.
It would be a red flag. Right.
Yeah, it'd be a huge red flag. Yeah.
Yeah. So the IC Ghost team, which are trying to launch on SNS, they do have a developer, so they wouldn't be able to do it without a developer.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm not sure if they.
What are your thoughts on IC Ghost launching their SNS?
So full disclosure, I have a few of the NFTs. I love those NFTs; they're fucking adorable. But I didn't think the SNSing of the Ghost tokens made the most sense. Right. To me, it felt like something that was premature. I get it. The first meme coin on the IC, you want to make a statement. You want to be a Dogecoin of the IC. But the SNS was meant for open internet services. And a meme coin isn't a service.
I know, yeah.
Right? So you kind of want to be in line with that forum post that Dominic made a while back. And that's not Ghost.
I know, but it's for the culture. It's fun. It's a fun little joke. It's...
I abstained from the vote. I did not vote at all from it because, like, for me, because I hold the tokens, right, and I hold the NFT. So when, for me, if it goes through and if it doesn't go through, it's like it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah. No, it was cool. I voted yes, by the way. That was my vote, and nice. I was upset that people would try to. I know it's a serious thing, right? The SNS is a serious thing, but it's a little bit of fun. I think it is great. Yeah, but probably I think you're correct.
With less money, it would have been a little bit more acceptable, I think. Because if you're going to be going that route, then you can't ask for too much. Because what are you building with that, right?
Yeah, and that was my point. They only wanted like 20,000 ICP, not 1 million or 2 million ICP. So it's fair for a little bit of fun. I think that would have been, yeah.
I agree.
Cool. Let's go to the registry. So what is the registry for somebody who never heard of it?
So the registry is actually an ecosystem we're building out over a year. That's the plan, at least. And the very first project that we're going to be launching, what we kind of already have through the LPP and then the site that's coming this end of this month, is the identity registry, right? The identity registry is a paystring provider. And I know a lot of people don't know what paystring is, so I'll try to do an elevator pitch for this really quickly. Paystring is essentially email for money, for value, right? When you're sending a message to somebody via email, your email provider doesn't care about what network or provider or any of the in-between things. He just knows how to send a message to that person with a human-readable email, right? Paystring is exactly the same exact thing. So, for example, my paystring would be Jonathan $ICP.com or whatever domain I decide to use, right? So when somebody wants to send me funds, they just send it to that easy, readable human string. In the background, I can manage my addresses that thing points to. I can have it point to a Ethereum address, a Bitcoin address, an ICP address. I can rotate those addresses whenever I want, which is, in my opinion, a really good habit to have, because if the person only is worrying about that name and has no visibility on the address they're actually sending to, that allows me as the person receiving the funds to manage my crypto a lot easier. If I have to change up my addresses, I don't have to tell everybody who has my address, here's my new address, right? I just do it in the background. And on top of that, because it's running on the IC, it allows us to make it decentralized. Paystring exists right now on other places like crypto.com, supports Paystring and a few other places. It's an open protocol. It's not something that we created. But what we have done is brought to the IC, which made the first and only decentralized paystring provider. So on crypto.com, if you were to make a paystring there, if they went away or they decided not to support paystring anymore, your mappings and your paystring goes away forever. With us, it's an NFT that you own. You can buy and sell and auction on the secondary market like any NFT. So that's paystring, and that's the identity registry. And I think that was like, 5 minutes for elevator pitch?
Yeah, no, it was an elevator pitch, all right. So is it similar to an Ethereum name service?
Great question. So there are definitely crossovers with ENS and unsellable domains and ICNS. The difference between paystring and those things, I guess I use superheroes as a good example. So in ENS and unsellable domains are like the Batcave. Right? You have all these things you can do, all these different customizable things you can put in your Batcave, but it also makes it pretty bloated. And on top of that, to access or use those things, you need to be able to interact with the underlying SDK or interface for that blockchain. For instance, if you're using ICNS, you have to use an agent to interact with it. If you're using something like Ethereum, you have to get used to that whole signing and signature stuff and like MetaMask interface and the Web3 libraries and whatnot. With Paystring, it's super light. It's just a payment pointer. There's not a website that maps to this thing or none of that extra stuff. It's just a payment pointer, the crypto addresses, and it's queryable from HTTP. That's all you need. There's no extra layer there. So any Web2 application, any Web2 company can use the Paystring and not have to worry about the blockchain side of things. Not have to worry about the specific library you need to know to interact with this thing, because of the IC's, superpowers of HTTP outcalls and incalls. The REST API is all you need for this thing to work, and that's all you have.
Let me make sure that I understand. So the registry creates for me like a name that I can share with somebody, and if they want to send me whatever token or coin they want to send me, they add that name, so I don't have to give them my wallet address that is the long string of numbers.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's email for payments.
Okay, and if they want to make a payment, they do it through where?
Any wallet provider that supports it. Right now, I can't say this.
Yeah, don't say it.
We have a couple right now on the IC that we're working with, and our plans are obviously to extend outside the ICP ecosystem and get other wallets involved. But any wallet provider, any DApp, right, would integrate Paystring, and then the end user would just paste that person's Paystring you try to send value to into the send field, and then it'll just send the value to that person.
You can register Paystrings right now, and you mentioned that you will be able to sell them on the secondary market, right?
Right. Well, I don't know when this video is coming out, but yes, in this month, we'll have the actual website out for the public for people to buy, sell, auction, all that stuff.
So do you recommend people go and register like Nike or Adidas or Google or?
Yeah, you can. The only what we're doing, we're gonna whitelist a bunch of notable projects on the IC, right? So, for example, Sonic, Plug, NFID, Discover, you guys, right? We're not gonna let people steal your names from you. But outside of that, yeah, you can go in there, you can register any name you want. You can try to, at least somebody doesn't already have it, and then you can try to make a profit by reselling it, or you can use it for your actual patron.
No, because people love buying and reselling stuff, so that would be great. So how do you register a pastring?
You go to the website and you just type the name you want, and it'll let you know if it's available. If it's available, you start the auction for it, right? It's kind of like the way ICNS does it, where the initial purchase is actually the first bid on a 3-day auction, so it allows anybody else that may want that name to get a chance to bid for it. This kind of helps prevent squatters and gives you more of an equitable approach to distribution of pay strengths.
That's great. That's awesome. So in simple terms, what is the problem that the registry is solving for people in the community?
It makes crypto less scary, right? Even as a seasoned crypto enthusiast and builder, whenever I'm sending funds to somebody or I want somebody to send funds to me, I triple check, quadruple check my address and do the same exact thing, and they'd send that one ICP or that 0.000.1 Ethereum to make sure it's the right address, and then you send the rest of it. That's just too much for most people. Yeah, it's horrible.
It's crazy, and then it gets delayed, and you get that scared feeling if you send too much at once.
And it also makes it accessible to non-Web3 companies as well, because, like I said earlier, it's served through HTTP, through REST APIs, which is what everybody else is used to out there in the development world. Right now, you're used to agents or graphically signing things, right? They're used to REST APIs.
Yeah, I remember reading somewhere when email was created, people don't need to know how emails work. They just need to, click send, and the other person receives the email. So it takes that out of the. Yeah, it's great. I love it. Now that you explained that, I really love it. You guys recently started. I think it was today, like 3-4 hours ago.
Yes.
You started your LBP, which is liquidity bootstrapping round on Sonic. Can you explain to people who may want to invest how that works?
Yep, it's a liquidity bootstrapping pool, right? It's pretty much a pre-sale that we're doing to our major sale, which will be SNS sale later on. Majority of our tokens are going to the community. I think is it 69 or 69, 60%? I can't have to look at the actual graph, but it's a large amount going to the community.
It's 63 to the community, the team 10%, LBP 5%, treasury and airdrops. Cool. So
nice.
Do you have any idea how LBP works? How does it work?
So the liquidity bootstrapping pool is essentially a way to help distribute the tokens in a way where, depending on how long the pool is going on for, right, or how early you get in, the price fluctuates. So if you guys understand, people who are listening, understand how a normal liquidity pool works, where you have like these two ratios, you're trying to keep that balance, right? So on top of that, there's also some artificial changing of the price over time to keep the price lower to incentivize buying. So if somebody doesn't buy for a while, the price will also drop to incentivize people to buy, so that actual tokens are distributed out like completely, right? So that's kind of a quick summary of how it works.
Yeah, because I Googled it and it has like this big explanation, and I really didn't have time to look into it, how it works. So usually, it's similar to pairs, like liquidity pairs in DeFi, where the more people buy, the price goes up, and then if there is not enough buyers, the price goes down to incentivize people buying. There's gonna be 2 rounds of liquidity bootstrapping. Today is the first one. When does it end?
24 hours, and the first round is 20x. So if you're in it right now, you're going to be getting the most. The next round is 5x, which is still pretty good. So essentially what that means is that if you were to buy 1 TRT token right now, the registry token, from this round, when you actually get your token, right, you'll be getting 20 times 1, which is 20, right? Same thing with the second pool. You'll be getting 5 if you buy 1 token. So the idea is because a pre-sale to get those people who want to be early birds the opportunity to get in early before the big SNS sale happens later on this year.
The second liquidity bootstrap will happen on the 22nd, I think, of July.
Yep, I think after this one ends. Yep. So yeah.
Okay, and you mentioned the SNS. when are you guys launching that?
We want to launch it this year. We want to make sure that we're launching a solid SNS project and we are just rushing it, like a lot of people are doing, I feel. We want to make sure that we have all the measurements that Dom stated in that forum post hit, right? We want to make sure that this thing can live without an active development team, because the idea of open internet service that it kind of doesn't have one or two guys that it depends on, that it just exists as a protocol level thing that can continue on forever, given that there are cycles supporting the canisters, right? So we want to get our project to that state. We want to make sure that the value that it brings to the protocol and to ICP is very realized and it's not just some empty promise. We want to make sure that we have adequate amounts of users using it, not just end users, but also dApps, right? And then once we get to that point, we'll push it to SNS. So hopefully by the end of this year, we'll have those things hit and we can start the sale.
And to the people that invest in this liquidity bootstrapping round, are they going to receive anything during the SNS or?
Well, this bootstrapping round and the second one, you just get those bonuses, right? So when the sale happens, right, what you'll pretty much get is, if you have one LPB token, when the SNS sale happens and it ends, you'll actually be getting whatever you put in the LPB times multiplier. So it's like an airdrop mechanic if you think about it, right? Like when the sale is over, then you get the tokens that you're owed by participating in this sale.
During the SNS, what percentage of the tokens will be released?
I think it was I think it's going to be 63% of all those tokens will be released.
That is a lot.
Yeah,
I think that is the biggest percentage amount of the tokens everybody ever given. So I think it was Hot or Not gave 30% away. And you guys, so this is literally decentralizing the app if you're giving
100%.
them it's awesome. So cool. Super cool. I like it. Is there anything that people should know about, like anything technical that I maybe didn't know to ask you about the registry?
Let me see. So we covered the NFT mechanic. We covered the concept of this thing being email, but for payments or value. We covered address rotation as well. The idea of being able to switch your addresses in the background up, and the person never knows about it, is sent to that name, which is super good.
Well, one second. Let me ask a question here. So, for example, in the so I have the name, the pay string, which is my name. Can I connect multiple wallets to that pay string? So I have an ICP wallet, a Bitcoin wallet, and an Ethereum wallet, and So can you send all tokens to me without me swapping my wallets connected to the pay string? If it makes sense.
Exactly. So you can have a mapping. One pay string can map to multiple addresses. Right, so you can have one pay string that maps to Bitcoin, Ethereum, ICP, Litecoin, Dogecoin, Solana, what have you, even fiat currency. Right, you can have it mapped to your bank account. Right, and what happens on the underlying app that uses it, whether it's a wallet or some dApp, is that they'll query your pay string and they'll grab the address details that are relevant to the payment that you're trying to make, and then just sends it to that address. And like I said, with the rotation mechanic, you can change those up at any time in the background. The person that's sending you value, never has to worry about rechecking your address, or you have to give them the new address. It's kind of like we get a new phone number, right? It always starts having to call your friends up, say, hey, this is me, right? This is my number, save it, right? That's not a thing anymore. So, So
people just need to know your pay string and they can send you all the tokens that they want. Mm-hmm. This is very good. I think I'm starting to realize how important it is. So it's the small things, right? Yeah. Because if my friends, I don't need to know their Solana account and their Ethereum wallet and ICP wallet. I just know his pay string, send him whatever I want, and text them, hey, I sent you a surprise and whatever. Great. No, I think exactly. I think it's the small things that makes your life easier, that maybe go unnoticed, that do the big change. I think it's very good.
And the interoperable nature of it too is huge, because the way the IC is positioned, the way I always saw it at least, was that there should be the architecture that nobody sees, right? We shouldn't be a tribalistic community where like it has to be ICP or nothing. It's like, well, they shouldn't even know about ICP. This should just be a technology that's used to build something else that they're actually familiar with and that they're using. Because nobody goes up there and promotes AWS or DigitalOcean. That's right. True. They just make their product and sell that to their user. And IC should be the same thing.
So if you were to describe ICP, would you describe it as a blockchain or as a like the
A
building
protocol.
blocks.
I would describe it as a protocol, an interledger protocol. The name's already taken, by the way, so we can't coin that one. But so to me, it's an interledger protocol that allows you to build applications and dApps that can talk with any other network, any other protocol, which is super awesome.
So, Jonathan, it was great talking to you. I loved learning about the registry, and wish you luck with the LBP rounds. And yeah, I'll talk to you in the crypto space here in the ecosystem.
Sounds good, man.
Yeah.
Look forward to talking again for sure.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you very much for tuning in, my friend.
Of course.
If you think this was a great episode, don't forget to give us a like and to subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.